Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by this video. This is a response to a question I got. The person said, "Hi, a few years ago, I made a pretty big mistake and my heart, which was full of love, closed. My conscience doesn't work like it used to. I've tried everything to heal. I'm wondering if this method can work for me." Yeah, so first my heart goes out to this person. And then the person asked, I was wondering if you could help. How would I get healing in Ireland of this kind? So the second question is easier. And um, so this is about receiving divine healing energy. And there's some ideas connected to it, but that's the main one. That not only is there a higher power, which you can call God. I sometimes hesitate to use that word God because so many people have been taught so many horrible, nasty things about God. A lot of people are afraid of God. I was. So you could say the divine source, and that this source makes available to us an energy which can help with everything. That's the essence of what this is all about. And I'm going to provide a link to a website I've written about this. And one of the things on that website is a course that I've created called Become a Master of Life, which is based on Bruno Groening's teachings. I've kind of systematized it. So I would invite you to take a peek at those things. So this isn't about like, yes, you can go and have people pray for you. You can go and do this practice in groups. But ultimately, that's not what this is about. Just as, being a part of a certain religion isn't about just going to church on Sundays, right? Like that's a part of it. But if you really think about it, that's actually a very small part of it. It's really about what you do the other six days of the week and then the rest of the Sunday, right? Like that's what the spiritual life is really all about. And ultimately, that's what healing is about. So on to the first part of your question. You made a huge mistake and your heart, which was full of love, closed. Tried everything to heal. I'm wondering if this method can work for you. Can it work for you? Absolutely. I've heard healings of everything. If you name it, I've either personally met someone who's healed from it, or I've read a medically documented report and of it, from ulcers to hernias to heartbreak to depression to just anything and everything. I once met a woman who she was molested as a child and was really brainwashed and really evil. Not only was she sexually molested, but as the molestation was going on, she was told the most awful things. It was really a very sick form of brainwashing that was done to this child. And through this method, she completely healed. She said she hadn't had a single happy day in her entire life. Who can even imagine? Can you imagine going your whole life without a single happy day? And she did this, she went on this journey, did this practice, was willing to believe, was willing to give away the burden, and it healed. She's a happy person now. It completely healed. So I can't imagine that the thing you're trying to heal, quote, injury, is worse than what happened to this person. I've even heard more intense stories of even more intense than that. Maybe that's the most intense, but I've heard many other very intense situations heal and change. So Now, with that said, this path isn't just about healing. The person who taught it, Bruno Groening, said that healing was only 10% of what he taught. So it absolutely can heal it. And Bruno was very adamant that everything happens for a reason, in essence. And the short version is that there's always something to learn from the bad things that happen to us. Now, that can be a bitter pill to swallow, but it's based in a very profound idea. And that idea is that God is trustworthy. Higher power, the divine, is trustworthy. That it doesn't allow meaningless things to happen. So I imagine you're feeling heartbroken. So this mistake, you made this mistake and huge consequences. I'm imagining you're feeling very heartbroken and discouraged. And to boot, you said, I've tried everything to heal, meaning that it hasn't healed yet. So to seek after healing is part of what this path is about. But to seek after understanding is more of what this is about, in my view, anyway. And part of that is understanding that all things serve the good, that even this thing that seems horrible, seems unfair, is heartbreaking, that it's happening for a reason. Now, this isn't to judge you or blame you or attack you. Bruno Groening said, the state of the world is steered by God. Only things that serve as a lesson are allowed to happen. So part of the lesson might very well be learning to endure, learning to keep on striving when it seems like there's no hope. Also, learning to surrender, like waking up and being like, oh, my heart's still closed. Okay, it hasn't healed yet. Giving it away, and then doing the practice of taking in the energy, trying to live as best you can, live the best life, and going on with the trust and faith that it will heal. The when, it's not up to us. We're not in charge of what I've noticed is that I'm not in charge of anything. We human beings are just not in charge of life. We don't like to admit that or think that. It's like we want what we want when we want it. So the last thing is I want to say is I just feel deep compassion for you. I experienced something very similar, and I've talked about that actually here on this channel. Let me go to Let's see. I made a group of videos called "My Wonderful and Strange Journey with the Teachings of Bruno Groening," and it talks about how I experienced made a mistake and experienced a profound loss that I haven't fully recovered from yet. So my heart really goes out to you. My heart really goes out to you. And life can seem unfair. How can one mistake have such far-reaching consequences? And so everything I've shared with you has been what's helped me. Part of it is to surrender. Like, hey, I'm not in charge. Part of it is to maintain faith, even when something doesn't heal or shift. Part of it's to maintain that big faith that higher power, the divine, is in charge. And while I don't like this, all of this is happening for a very good reason. And that's not, again, to negate your pain and negate how frustrating a situation it is. And time again, Bruno Groening called us to trust. Trust doesn't mean that we're going to get what we want when we want it. It does mean that in the end, everything will be okay. But it doesn't necessarily mean, and it doesn't mean that the journey is going to be without problems and challenges. In fact, we can pretty much, that's pretty much a guarantee. So I hope that's helpful, and I'm going to hold you in my prayers. And thank you so much for writing. Hey, Zujan. Hi, Smarta. Thanks for saying hello, both of you. And I hope this is helpful. Take care, angels. Big love.